ignition.
Hi, this is Joel Persinger. I'm the gun guy. Thank you very much for watching my channel. I really deeply appreciate it. I'm still working on AR-15s today, so I've got an interesting thing from a company called Tier5 to show you. This gentleman named Ed Tolentino sent me this. It's been a while back. I kind of feel bad it's taken me this long to get to it. I got a little swamped there. And I'm a little late on videos this week, have been for the last 2 or 3 weeks. Forgive me. My wife and I are not what you would call wealthy people, other than we have the Lord, which is awesome, and we love our kids and so on. So we're wealthy in that regard, where family is concerned and where God is concerned. But money, not so much. We have saved over the years. You know, we're getting old, and we do have the one rental property, and of course it went vacant. And if you have any properties like that, you find out that you got a lot of work to do before you can rent it again. We've been really busy doing that and busy at work, and it's been kind of crazy. So I apologize for taking so long to get videos done. We'll see if we can get back up to speed again. Oh, and the other thing I wanted to mention to you too before I start this, if you don't mind, is people in public seem to feel funny about coming up and talking to me sometimes. I just wanted to let you know I'm just a regular working stiff. I'm not Joe Hollywood. I'm just a regular person, lives in a regular house, has a regular family. Okay, so I don't have a star in the Walk of Fame. I'm not a movie star. I'm not famous or anything like that. So if you see me in a public place, please walk up and say hi. I was at Denny's the other day, or the other evening, with a young man from church. My wife and I help out with the singles ministry a little bit. And he and I just needed to talk about some things, and some fellows were there eating, and they came up and said hi, and I thoroughly enjoyed meeting them. It was really cool. So if you're watching the video, thanks for coming and saying hi to me at Denny's. I appreciate it. So if you ever see me in public, please come over and say hi. My name is Joel. I'm not Mr. Persinger. That was my dad, and he's dead, so you can just call me Joel. And you don't need to call me sir. I work for a living, okay? So feel free to come up and say hi anytime. All right, back to what we're talking about now. This gentleman has a little company called Tier5 Solutions, and he sent me a modified bolt catch for an AR-15. Also sent me another roll pin, which I'm grateful for. It's interesting. It's an interesting concept, and it applies to a host of different people, and you're wondering why I even care about this. This modified bolt catch, and I'll show you a real close-up here, and you can see the difference. You've got a standard bolt catch here on the left, and it looks just like the modified one for all intents and purposes. The only difference is that the modified one has a hole milled on the bottom and a spring on it. And what it does is every time you fire the gun, it forces the bolt to stay open. That makes the firearm a manual gun rather than semi-automatic. And you're going, why would anybody want to do that with an AR-15? Okay, I get the question. There are some reasons why you might want to do it even if you're not in a restrictive state. People who are shooting for competition, they're shooting one round at a time. People who want to shoot bench rest, they really want to control each round as it enters the gun. There's a host of different reasons why somebody might want to do this. But there are also restrictive states other than California. California, where I live, is very restrictive, but there are some states where semi-automatic AR-15s are pretty much banned. There are also states where hunting with a semi-automatic rifle becomes complex, and hunting with a semi-automatic AR-15 is not legal. So you want to be able to have that manual operation so you can take your gun and go hunt with it if you happen to like AR-15s for hunting. A lot of people do. I hunt whenever I can, and I've seen a number of folks out hunting with AR platform rifles. They may not all be 5.56. Some of them are, you know, AR-10s and so on, but they like that particular platform. I can understand why. It's awesome, and that's what they want to hunt with. Well, this gives you an opportunity to do it in states or locations where you can't do it if the rifle is semi-automatic. So there's a whole bunch of reasons to have this. What I like about it is the fact that it's so simple to do. It's a 5-minute operation to swap it out. So the other application I came up with, I think, in states like California is, let's say you've got more than one AR-15, or let's say you have an AR-15 and really the only reason you have it is in case there's civil unrest or a major disaster or something along those lines. Or you simply believe that as I do, that the Second Amendment was created to give us the ability to displace a tyrannical government. Now, truthfully, I don't see that happening in my lifetime. But could it happen? Sure. One of the firewalls against that, I would say, is the fact that the citizens have the right to own and use military-type firearms that are suitable to fight with, and that puts us in a position of being one of the few countries in the world, if not the only country in the world, where the citizens have the ability to defend themselves against and indeed overthrow a government should it become a government of tyranny. Well, if that's the case and you want to have that AR-15 for that, but you really don't use it for much of anything else, and you live in a state like California, but you don't want to have to, jack the gun all up to make it featureless, you also don't want to register it, well, you can install a modified bolt catch in the gun, which is a very inexpensive proposition and can be done by anybody. I mean, if I can do it, you can do it, okay? Because I'm not a gunsmith, and I'm going to show you how to do it here in a second. But it's really, really easy to do. You can swap it out, and then now you have a completely legal rifle. It's just it's not semi-automatic. You have to run the bolt every time in order to shoot it. But if the world starts coming apart because there's a major earthquake or some disaster or whatever, or you need the gun to fight with, all you have to do is take it out and swap it for the original one right here. And now your gun, again, is fully operational. So you've made the gun legal, and then in case of an emergency, if you needed to swap it out, it's a 4 or 5 minute operation to do. So there's another reason for looking at a solution like this. It makes the rifle fully legal in the state, and then also makes it available to you should you need to change the part during during a time when law enforcement is not available. There is no enforcement of law. We have those brief periods, not including things like tyranny, but I mean, look, when there's a major disaster, there's a period of time where you're pretty much on your own. You're on your own for power, water, food, and frankly, you're on your own for defending yourself. And you need a good quality tool to do that. I got to tell you, there's not much better than a semi-automatic fighting rifle or a fighting shotgun. And among fighting rifles, the most popular rifle in the country, the #1 best-selling rifle in the country, is the AR-15 platform. And there's a good reason for that. So this is an opportunity in California for you, perhaps, in addition to the other myriad different ways I've shown you to do this, to keep your gun legal without necessarily have to register it. As you know, I don't believe in the registration thing because, one, I don't think the government has a right to know what citizens have. Citizens are law-abiding citizens, and they have rights, God-given, which are guaranteed by the Constitution, and it's not the government's business how you exercise those rights or what tools you have to do it. So I don't register things that aren't registered when I buy them. Some of them are, but I don't register them if they're not. And I have no intention of restricting myself by registering my rifle as an assault weapon, so I've made my rifle featureless. But I might also sometime, with another rifle perhaps, consider doing this with it. Now, like a complete knucklehead, I did not read the instructions. When all else fails, read the instructions. Well, I didn't, and I didn't install it right. And then I took it to the range, and I blew it, and it only functioned about, as you can see, it only functioned about every 2 or 3 rounds. It was kind of frustrating. I was trying to figure it out, and I could not figure it out at the range. And then on the way home, it dawned on me, well, stupid, maybe you should have read the instructions. So I want you to know that the reason why it's not functioning in this video is because of the knucklehead installer, that would be me, not because the device doesn't work. It works very well. This is what I didn't do. I didn't read the instructions where it told me to take the other spring and detent out. So now I'm going to show you how to do this the right way. Swapping out a bolt catch on an AR-15 can be done in a few minutes by any average 10-year-old child. The problem is, I don't have an average 10-year-old. I don't have a 10-year-old child, average or otherwise, so I guess I'm going to have to do it. But it's pretty simple. What I've done here is I've just gotten my little, you can see it wiggling here. I've gotten my punch started a little bit just to kind of make life a little easier. And all I'm going to do is take a small hammer and drive the roll pin out. Now, since I've already swapped this out, this is actually the roll pin the guy sent me, so I don't need to change out the roll pin. But he does advise that you do that because he sends you a roll pin as well as everything else. So we're just going to tap it out until it's about, you can kind of feel when it's far enough, and that's about right. Okay, so at that point, it feels like the only thing holding in the bolt catch is not the roll pin, it's the punch. So I'm going to pull the punch out. That's going to let me remove the original bolt catch, as I had put it back in there for you. So let me pull that back out, and then I'm going to show you what I didn't do before, which is I didn't take out the little spring. Let me get the bolt catch out. I got to hold it with my thumb, and we'll wiggle out the punch and slide the bolt catch out without losing the little detent and like that. Now, hopefully you can see this little thing down here. Now that, it wiggles, so if you can see it wiggle. That's a detent. That's a little bulbous little thing that sits on top of a spring. And what that does is push this direction away from the receiver. It pushes this direction on the bolt catch. So when the bolt catch is pushed that way, what it does if you push that way is it rotates that way. So basically it keeps the bolt catch down and out of the way while the gun is running. And then when the bolt catch is pushed upward by the follower on the mag, that's when it catches for your last round bolt hold open. So if I leave this spring and detent in, and I also at the same time install a new bolt catch that's pushing upward while this spring and detent are pushing downward, then they're competing with each other and the little system doesn't work very well. And that's what I discovered at the range, because the instructions told me to remove this, but like a knucklehead, as I said, I did not read the instructions. Now, I could sit here and fiddle with that with a knife to try to wiggle that out of there so you could see, but honestly, the easiest way to get it out is just take the receiver off the vise and tilt it, and it's going to fall out of my hand. It'll be a little hard for you to see, probably get blurry or something, but I mean, here we go, and we'll get that little spring and detent out. So there you go. That's how fast and easy that was. And I'm going to set them aside because it's just a tiny little spring with the little thing sitting on the top, and I'll put it out here so you can see it maybe. There it is right there. And I'm going to take that and set that aside so I don't lose it, so I can put my rifle back together later if I want to do that. Now the two springs won't be competing, and I can install the new bolt catch with the spring that will hold the bolt catch up and catch the bolt every time the gun is fired, and lock it open, which, by the way, once you install it, works brilliantly. I did find that out after I came home and fixed it and went back to the range. So let me use this. I'm going to use my punch now to kind of line up the hole. And if I do it just right, I can kind of eyeball it to the left-hand side, and I can get my punch to serve as a guide so that I won't be fighting with the pen to get it in the hole. So let me see if I can get that to line up right away. There you go. Now my punch is a little bit of a guide so that when I tap in the roll pin, the holes are already lined up, and it'll just push my punch out the other side, so you can see it as I do that. And I don't have a special hammer for this. I just used the smallest hammer I had in the toolbox. But you can see it works pretty good. And I'm just tapping lightly. And there you are. Now if I want to take my punch on this side and line it up and just tap that in a little bit more, I can do that to make it flush. And that'll flush it out a little bit, but it's not that big of a deal. So there you go. Now that changed out the bolt catch, so now if I were to take the rifle back to the range again, which I already did, I would find that this works perfectly. That is an extremely easy little change to make. I just really love these simple gunsmithing kind of projects that don't require a lot of gunsmithing ability, because I have none. And some tools. It doesn't require anything other than basic tools, really. You needed a hammer. Now, sure, could you get a better hammer for it, or a little brass mallet or whatever? Yeah, okay. I haven't got one of those, but I got this, so I used it. You need a punch. Well, you can get the punches at any hardware store. It doesn't have to be an official gunsmithing punch. You need some tape to keep from marring up your lower. And if you got the little block to put in the vise to lock down the gun, that's really awesome too. This is a really cheapy one. It works really well. It didn't lock in properly this time because I've got the mag well on the gun and it didn't lock in. But I mean, normally it locks in, holds the gun really firm. This time wiggled around a little bit, but it didn't keep me from getting the job done. I like projects like that because I'm a regular person. I'm not a gunsmith. I like shooting and hunting and so on, but that's about as far as it goes. Now, as far as this product is concerned, I don't personally have a need to make my AR-15 single shot or manual, or like a bolt gun. If I'm in a hunt, I've got other guns to do that with. And I don't hunt with an AR-15 anyway, and I don't shoot bench rest, and I don't do a lot of the things that would require this kind of an alteration. But there are a whole lot of folks who do, and if that's you, if you're one of those people, making this little adjustment is super simple. The product is made very well, and as you could see from the range test, it works flawlessly. Well, gee, inexpensive, simple, works every time, easy to install. That works for me. So check them out. Tier5, they make the modified bolt catch to make your AR-15 a single shot or manual operation rifle, kind of like a bolt action, only different. You can check out the link if you like in the description. It'll take you right to more information about them. And you can check out their product and pricing and that kind of stuff there. You've already seen how to install it, which is pretty simple. Thank you very much for watching. Check out some other things for me if you wouldn't mind. Check out GunGuy TV on Patreon. We certainly would be welcome we would welcome your support, and we frankly, we really need it. You can also donate if you'd like to just help us out a little bit. You can go on our website, hit the donate button, and you can do that. Check out Second Call Defense. They are a great company. If you happen to need a gun for self-defense and you ever use it, you're going to need some legal backup, and Second Call Defense is good for that. There's a link in the description. And don't forget to join the National Rifle Association. They need all the help they can get right now to continue fighting for our firearms rights. We have national right to carry reciprocity, stuff going on in my home state and other states. This is all stuff the NRA is fighting for. In court mostly, but also with legislation, and they need your support. There's a link in the description where you can save some money doing that. There you go. See, I've given you the whole spiel. Have a great week. Thanks for watching, and please be safe.